There's absolutely nothing to say.
Let's call this meeting order. We all stand for pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's get a roll call of the members present, please. Do I?
Councilmember Witten.
I am here.
Councilmember Conover. Present. Councilmember Beggs.
Here.
Councilmember Graham. Here. Councilmember Jessen.
Here.
Councilmember Paparad.
Here.
And Councilmember Rivas.
Here.
7-0, present.
A couple of housekeeping things. One is we've moved the sheriff's budget to another night, so thank you all for coming. Make sure let these fellows know what it is. Vicki, if you would give us, I'm just kidding, by the way. If you'd give us kind of a starting block here on where we stand on our projected budget, revenue, and the requests that are in front of us.
Okay. We're going to start just with the general fund, correct?
Please do.
Okay. The general fund, all of the budgets as requested total $39.3 million, rounded up $39.4 million. We have a growth quotient of 3.8% this year. We believe that that means that the overall property tax levy will see an increase of about $1.3 million. That's for all of the property tax supported funds. Most of that would be in the county general fund. We are going to be conservative, as we have last year, with our miscellaneous revenue estimates. We already have an estimate from the state showing that for the general fund, the excise tax is expected to increase by about $300,000 over what was budgeted for this year. When you put all of those numbers together, we end up with what we believe to keep within our levy a general fund budget that you should be shooting for at around $38 million, $38.2 million.
Can I ask you one question on that accord?
Yes.
I think Vicki and I talked a little bit here in the last couple of days, and your $39.4 million, does that include the pension, the police pension?
Yes, it does.
All right.
That's as requested, as submitted. Some, as you probably have already noticed as you have studied your budget books, some departments have rolled in proposed raises.
Well, let's stick with the police, let's stick on
Okay.
the police pension issue, and then we'll
Okay.
move on to the other stuff.
Very good.
So, that's about 1.2?
Just over $1 million.
All right. And
I'll get that for you.
in the past, we haven't had that as part of our budget, I don't think. We've been paying that. We haven't budgeted for it, is that correct?
Beginning last year, you started appropriating it, but not as part of the budget.
So if we rolled that out, we're down to about 38.4?
Yes.
Okay. When I say rolled it out, we're still going to pay it, but...
Correct? And it does need to be appropriated by you.
Right. And then I guess the other question, glaring question that isn't necessarily important for this evening or in the near future is how are we going to be treating our hospital proceed interest money? And I think that the initial thought was miscellaneous revenue, but Vicki, you have some concern about that, or you've gotten conflicting stories from the state on how we should do that? Is that correct?
We are in discussions with the state
Okay.
about how best to account for it. Should those proceeds be placed in its own fund? Should it be rolled into the general fund and treated as miscellaneous revenue? If it's rolled into the general fund and treated as miscellaneous revenue, I really want the state to allow us to increase our budget accordingly.
Right.
Otherwise, it's
Will
doing
they roll the
exactly what
levy
you
back?
said, Bob. It would cut into our levy.
Yeah.
And we cannot allow that. Well, we could, but
Right.
that would defeat.
Yeah, it would be
Counterproductive.
So you're saying that if we identify certain percentiles of what we project to be receiving, to a percentile to go toward public safety, that would not necessarily count against our levy?
We don't know yet.
Generally, as a general rule, miscellaneous revenue counts against your levy, so we're going to have to do something special with it.
Or else the state's just gonna subtract.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, is if we identify before it even comes in.
Yeah, but I've dealt with the state enough, and Vicki has too. This is a new problem for them,
Yeah,
so they can't answer it. Nobody else has a foundation that's gonna pump whatever.
This is the case of first impression.
Yeah.
So, all right, so long as whatever we need to do, two things. One is, I want it to come into our oversight, this body.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I say this body, I mean this body. And second of all, we don't want it to adversely affect our levy numbers.
Will the state give you any indication of a non-reverting or anything? They won't answer it, will they?
I think it's fair to say that they are looking at the various issues. We're looking at how the fund should be accounted for, and I know that that goes into a whole different area right now.
Harold, have you been involved in any of this?
At this point, no.
Would you help Vicki along so that if there's any legal...
May I suggest a letter from the county council, maybe co-signed with me, asking for more clarity on how we should treat these proceeds? Should we budget for them as part of our general fund? Should we put them in a separate fund? All of it is up to appropriation by you anyway.
Right. So, you and I can do a joint letter, Vicki.
Okay,
That
that
sounds
sounds good.
Okay. Anything else you need to tell us, Madam Auditor?
Whatever you want to know.
I know there's a lot you'd like to say, but anything we need for tonight's festivities? Okay. Let the fun begin. Our first budget on the agenda for this evening is the 911 General, 1031.
We're at 9.
Good evening. Good evening, how are you?
Doing well in yourself.
Well, I'm not doing too shabby. So as we look at your budget here, go ahead.
Who wants to talk? You might recall that last year, E911 general fund budget had nothing in it because it all got moved into surcharge or rainy day, except for FICA and PERF, and all employees who are in the general fund just get their FICA and PERF paid for out of the commissioner's budget. We just kept this budget here, 0%, I mean 0 this year, 0 next year.
Your hourly is up from last year. Did we end up doing an additional on that hourly after the 16 budget was approved?
On the overtime, yeah.
Where do we end up, where are we at on that now? How much have we spent so far out of that? Vicki?
We're in surcharge budget.
I believe it's going to be about in the 110,000 of the 130 of the 130 appropriated.
Looks like maybe 120,000. Now it's down to 10,066. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And so I suspect that probably at next month's council meeting, I'll be asking for a transfer
Scroll down a little bit here.
to get us through the end of the year.
All right. What's your pleasure, guys? I mean, what else do we have in this budget? There's a data processing equipment increase? Is this something that was paid out of a different fund before, or is this something that's new?
Data processing has been in rainy day.
So how many things that we've been paying out of rainy day are now coming into general? You know?
There's, in the general, or do you mean the surcharge?
Well, let's start
We
with
don't have
anything.
anything in the general fund.
Anything out of the, well, so your surcharges,
Surcharge is maxed out.
yeah.
It is.
What exactly do you have coming out of there, out of the surcharge?
Sure, so we have salaries, everyone's salaries coming out of that. We moved out of rainy day for this current year's budget last year. The overtime line item that was in rainy day, it got moved into surcharge. And then we have training and education coming out of surcharge. That's been there for a couple of years, though. And we have our part-time hourly folks' pay coming out of surcharge.
So what's your projection? I mean, my understanding is that you're not at full staff.
Correct. That's correct.
And where would you guess, if you were to hire another half dozen dispatchers, it'd have to come out of the general?
Well, we have budgeted for, the numbers that I have in surcharge, when I break down the different pay rates for everyone, I'm accounting for the number of positions that we have, so that I don't have to come back and figure out, well, we have 31 positions, but I only budgeted
And that was
28, because that's how many people
So that was
I
my
have.
question. As we sit here today, do you have any anticipated expenditures in 2017 that might hit the general fund?
Projects, yes.
Can you
Sure.
tell us what those might
Sure.
be?
So our 911 phone system is at end of life, and begun to speak with Frontier
Mhm.
already to figure out a game plan for replacement of that system. I don't think we're going, probably too early to tell how much that's going to come in at. In 2011, it was about a $1.6 million project. I don't know that we're going to be that high on the next phone system, but we also don't have those figures yet.
Have you talked to the commissioners?
We've had a discussion about it, yeah.
Informal discussion?
They're aware of it, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we can cross that bridge when we get to it. What's your pleasure with his proposed budget?
Move to approve.
Second.
We're talking about all three?
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And I'm going to just kind of remind you, as I'm going to remind everybody, when we have a vote on second reading, which is what we're doing throughout all these evenings, it really is sort of a straw vote. The vote that matters is the final vote on adoption of the budget. So as we move through these, it's not uncanny or unlikely that we won't go back. And if we get to the end of the line and realize we need to make some cuts, or in fact have the ability to make some increases.
Sure.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff, general fund. Hello, Sheriff, how are you?
Good.
Aye. Oh, that's good.
No.
Did you have a PowerPoint?
Yes, but couldn't get it to work, because we have to unload your, whatever you got loaded, right?
The thumb drive would not, the thumb drive would.
But we did make copies of it, so...
All right, why don't you pass those out, and we can
All right.
get down to business.
The $600,000 IT department, we can't make powerful.
I don't know. A little disappointed.
I would be too.
Get the Hillary staff to get it working.
It was the jump drive? Mhm. Right.
What's the issue with it?
It wasn't the system, it was the drive.
It's our fault.
We have it on another computer.
You understand that, right, Jim? It wasn't the $600,000 IT system. It was a $6 thumb drive.
They couldn't fix it?
It's probably got a security thing on theirs not allowing it, because it works on his laptop.
I was gonna say, they can't figure that out for you.
Yeah.
I still say it's IT.
Okay. So what you've got in front of us here, Sheriff, is, it seems like page one is a comparison of Portage, Valpo, and the Sheriff's Department with call serve.
Right. Can I just make a little opening statement, if you will?
Please.
First of all, as I sit in front of you this evening, we're presenting a budget that represents a significant step in eliminating disparities of salaries in Porter County, comparing Portage, the city of Portage, Valpo, and Porter County. And I also sit in front of you in front of a department that is one of the most highly trained law enforcement professionals, officers with dedication and commitment, unmatched by any department that I've ever been associated with, and I've been associated with a lot of police departments in my career. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to thank you, first of all, for taking the time, because we've asked each and every one of you to come to the department. A couple of you, we went to you, but I really appreciate, on behalf of our whole department, of you taking the time, asking the pertinent questions, and allowing us to explain some of the striking disparities. The PowerPoint that we were going to show you, and Rich can explain it, what we put together. We put together, we're not disparaging the city of Portage or Valpo's Police Department, but you need, as a council members, you need to see what we do, and every day. And there's no comparison on what we do in the areas that we do. So you want to just go over real quick what you did and how you did it?
I just started to look at page 1 there, and that's our calls for service by jurisdiction, comparing them. Our calls for service to Portage and Valpo PD. And as we move to page 2, it's just a number of crashes that we take. Our crashes tend to be more serious than the other departments, only because our speeds on the county roads are higher than a parking lot accident.
Can I just interrupt?
Sure.
I've heard for years how busy everybody is, but we looked and we documented how busy everybody really is. And calls for service gives you a really good indication of how busy we are. And that's what this calls for service says. So go ahead.
As we look at the PowerPoint here, you notice that the gold bars are always going to be the sheriff's department compared to the blue bar, Portage, and the red bar for Valpo. Try to keep that color theme throughout. So whenever you see the yellow, you're going to notice that that's the county. As we move page 3 there, this is our officers versus population. So we have 65 sworn officers versus a population of almost 70,000. Compared to that, Portage, which has about the same amount of officers, 66, compared to a population of 33,000, 33,500. We have twice as many people in the area serviced by the same amount of officers. And if you take that one step further and just say how many people that is in our jurisdiction to one officer, you can see that, again, the numbers reflect the same thing. I mean, we're servicing twice the population that the other two jurisdictions are servicing. If you add theirs together, it still doesn't score what we have. And the next slide would have shown that the square miles covered by jurisdiction, we have 444 square miles that we cover every day, compared to the 27 square miles that Portage has and the 15 square miles that Valpo has. So our area that we cover, and the distance we have to travel every single day is just numerous compared to what they have to travel. And it's just the miles of roadway. This is straight from the highway departments. We have 817 miles of road that we cover every single day, not just us, the highway department, but as the sheriff's department, we cover those roads also to travel on, compared to like 154 that Portage has and 156 that Valpo has. Again, the numbers are just astronomical compared to what they actually have to cover compared to what we cover.
And that doesn't include the state highways.
Nor does it cover like Cox and Hebron or anything like that. I mean, their numbers are obviously much smaller than what we have. That's just county jurisdiction and county roads. And then the next slide is the year 2000. We've added 5 officers, and Valpo has added 3, and Portage has added 15. So in the last 16 years, that's how many officers we have added to our department. We went from sworn to 65 sworn.
One of which was, by your generosity, gave an officer for the drug unit, and 4 were when I was the sheriff. The first time we applied for the Cops More grant, got 4 officers. That accounted for the 5 additionals. Now, I know you've agreed we've applied for the Cops More. Again, we haven't heard anything, but we're still in the running for 4 more, so.
Great.
And I think the last page is what you saw, is the comparisons that we talked about as far as the disparities. And with the approval of this submitted budget, we're not going to be over Portage in Valpo, but we're going to be in the ballpark with it. And I know when I spoke with you individually, there was a lot of discussion, a lot of due diligence on preparing, not a contract, but a 3-year agreement. It seemed to me that everybody was in agreement, understood with that, was receptive to it, but basically said, just let's get the first one out of the way, and we'll come back. Because what we'd like to do is get this first one accepted and approved, and come back with a 5% raise, and then we'll know and you'll know how to budget. And that 5% after this year would really make, we would really be comparing us to everybody else. It'd be really accepted by, I think, by all our officers that are sitting behind me.
I also like to say, not only do they cover what you're seeing here, but they also assist Portage and Valpo.
Right. Okay. So we know about your wage increase and the numbers behind that. And I think that in talking with the other council members, now, typically what we do here, and I think it's probably the right way to do it, is that we deal with raises at the end of our budget session. And I think that's going to be paramount this time because, one is we want to see how much money we have. That's step one. And then also it gives us an idea if we, in theory, want to look for raises, for example, for the Sheriff's Department, armed with the knowledge of what Vicki started this discussion with, we know where we have, what kind of money we need to find to make that happen. In this particular year, and we've had some discussion about this, as you, I'm sure, have heard by now, we are at the end of our first full quarter of our Foundation Hospital principal investments, and I think that we're going to get a report in a week that is going to be quite good news. And I think that we want to be having discussions about how we're going to be dealing with those monies that come in. And I think that as a council, as we sit and look at this, there's no question that this council has an interest in putting some money into public safety. There's no question about that. And there's also no question that we want to bring our officers' salaries up. I've spent years as a cop. I understand the job you do, and I understand that now more than ever it's a difficult climate, even more difficult than when I did it, and we recognize that. So I think that in the spirit of dealing with your raise increase, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I'm behind you on it. So we want to try to find the money and make it happen. And then I think at the end of this budget session, we can have some discussions with respect to our hospital interest money. How much of that do we want to, Jim alluded to it a little bit earlier, how much of that do we want to allocate to things like capital projects, improvements, and how much of it do we want to allocate to things like operations, public safety, and that kind of stuff? Because candidly, the ability to have the foundation, which is the first one in the state of Indiana ever, which makes us in pretty good standing financially, it has enabled us not to have to pass income taxes like other counties have had to do. So we need to be thinking in terms of dealing with some of our operations and keeping this county moving forward and having some progressive salaries and things like that. So that's my thinking going into it. Anybody else have any thoughts along those lines? I'm sure you do, Jim.
Well, just listening to CJ, I think we're all clear that there are some big ticket items coming up in 911 that we're going to have to address sometime in the next 12 months or so, 24 months. And as you alluded to, the last thing I want is for the interest money of the hospital to be flushed into general operations. And I think that using this money in a way that it's a difference maker in that, that we target a percentile of it for public safety issues, and only public safety issues. I think it's smart, I think it's long-term smart, and, you know, I hear you guys. I look at these salaries, and a lot of you have children at home, and I can't imagine trying to raise a family on some of these salaries. We hear you. We're going to do something. I'm not sure yet, in all fairness to the rest of the board and to you, exactly what that is, but we're going to do something. It may be all of this, it may be only some of it, but we're going to do something.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Dan. Chairman Mike.
Mike.
This is just to make sure I have a clear understanding of it, Sheriff. And I appreciate the information on the background. It's terrific. On the specific budget sheet, this one here with the wages, is there a reason that they're not lining up with the PowerPoint information? Either the 2016 or the 2017 proposed?
That includes the merit pay.
Are you talking about the salaries?
Yes.
Yes, it's not merit pay, because merit pay is different. You know, that's a different budget, and it's a set fee. So I had to take the total of merit off, calculate, and then add the merit back in. We had just put all merit because that's what they make, the full, with merit.
Okay, gotcha.
We thought it'd be better for you to see it without the merit pay.
With merit, with merit. That has with merit. Now, I can give you a sheet that shows the salaries now, take off with the merit pay, and show you a little bit more detailed if you'd like to see that.
I would like to see that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then it kind of shows, because they can't do a raise on merit. We can't change the merit.
Right.
And it's in a different budget.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so for sake of this budget, if we did not have the proposed salary increases, what are we looking at for this budget then? Let's start with that.
Okay, so the 2017 column is everything the same, except for the salaries. We cut it back to what it is currently.
But you still have the
3.6.
you still have the pension in there?
Yeah.
Correct.
And in the past, we've paid that pension some out of riverboat money, right? No, that was for the drug unit. We've had to find it in other places.
It's general fund, an additional appropriation last year. Last year also hospital interest. This year hospital interest. Yes.
Do what?
Lowett special distribution. That special money that we
Right.
got this year from the
That's
state.
right. That's right, that helps. So,
Hasn't gone.
Okay,
Finalized yet, but.
all right,
Do you want to know about the other increases then?
yes.
Okay. 60,000 on overtime. That's because I was asked to add that in for special services, and so I don't have to keep on coming back. It's the reimbursement coming from the special services. This way, I kind of calculated what I thought it might be, and then I'll wait to the end of the year and make sure it's evened up, and if I need more, then I'll come back. If I don't, then it'll stay in the general fund. So I was asked to do that. 3,500 in maintenance agreements was the increase for Tiburon, our CAD system.
Right.
Okay, that's all in, and everything else except for the 1217, 70,000 is for off-site medical. It's kind of a guesstimate of what, who knows, could end up being anything.
Okay.
And that's it for the general.
So the number without the increases is what then? $5,180,000?
Correct.
176 and 10 cents. So here's the thing, so if everybody's wondering, what does all this mean, which I'm sure you're following closely here. We're going to have a meeting that we deal with just salary increases generally. And that's for all departments, including yours. My suggestion is, come back at that meeting too. And I've already told the sheriff that. Because that's the vote that matters. And we'll have a better handle after we're through all, because some of these budgets include state mandated increases that we have to deal with. We don't have much discretion there. So we kind of want to see, and then we can have a discussion then about, back to the thought of interest money and things that we're doing there.
Okay.
So, what's your pleasure on 5180, 17610?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Opposed?
Dan, just real quick.
Yep.
I mean, I think, I don't know where we're gonna be at the end, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna come down to prioritizing. And I'm not gonna speak for everybody else, but public safety's a priority to me. And we're gonna have to make some tough decisions. So, I think I've indicated that, I support you guys. So, when you guys come back, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna find a way to do something for you guys, because this doesn't make any sense, and I think, Sheriff, when I came in there, we talked about, with the salaries being so low, with the turnover rate, there's gotta be a cost to that turnover rate, too. People are coming, probably, since there's openings, because people are leaving, if I can go get paid to do the same job, more, somewhere else, I'm gonna go there, I'm sure. But if there's an opening here where I can jump in and get trained, and as soon as there's an opening for a higher salary, I'm leaving. So there's got to be a cost associated with that. And I think that's why it has to be adjusted, so that, when we're bringing them in, we're keeping them, we're retaining them, we're training them, we're retaining them.
So Vicki, along those lines, so if we're looking for, their proposed request for increases, the number we'd be looking for throughout this budget session is how much? What's the difference then?
300,000.
Wait, what was the question?
Let me try this again.
300,000.
The amount you took out for the increases, how much was that number?
Oh, just for the sheriff's department?
The folks are in front of us now.
329. Right there.
Yeah, 329,909.
You always ask,
I wonder if
because
we
it isn't
should,
always right.
wondering about taking out the pension and dealing with that in third reading.
Well, it's 6.5 dozen, we gotta deal with it somehow. We're gonna take it out, he wanted to talk, he said about taking the pension out.
Take the pension out, we
We
deal
gotta
with.
deal with the third reading one way or the other.
Yeah, but I got some thoughts on that one.
Another interesting point to tag on to what Jeremy had to say is trying to minimize the turnover, and obviously there's a cost to turnover, but I think one thing that stuck out in my mind as we discussed it, we talked about just attracting good candidates, and the few applicants that you get when there's actually jobs to fill. That was kind of staggering.
Well, we used to get 120 to 150 applicants. Last time, I think we had 28 applicants.
Can I ask you a question on this? This pension has become a pretty big number over the years. When's the last, you have an actuarial that works on this, and when's the last time we got a number from him? Is this fairly
You
recent?
get that every year?
Yeah.
Well, every year.
So,
Bob and I worked it.
Yeah.
and I guess my question is, and I understand all that goes into that actuarial analysis, but part of it is your vesting. And don't your officers vest at what now, 7?
It's,
Percentage, you mean?
no, how many years?
How many years?
5.
Oh.
About
5.
5.
If we're looking for, and this is just a thought, if we're looking for more money for the sheriff's department, wouldn't it make sense to up that vesting? Would that make a big difference? Here's my question, it's a philosophical question. These guys are all here, I think they all anticipate staying here longer than 5 years. Wouldn't it be nice if we could find more money by upping the vesting to reward the guys that are going to be here 10 years?
Well, the actuarial that we submitted said take $15 million out of the,
Yeah, but forget about that for a moment, that's just a buying it out. I'm talking about the vesting. I understand that, pulling the money out, and by the way, right now, pulling the money out of our principal with the interest that we're getting would have been not the right.
and you might be right there, but I think
But that could change.
we would have to ask, we'd have to submit that to the actuarial and see the difference.
I'm just curious, and it's just a thought, but I'm just curious, how much of a difference would that make if we went from 5 to 10? And then all of that, if that would make a big difference, if that pension, rolling every bit of that savings into salaries on top of what we do. Reward the guys that are staying here longer with a higher salary than rewarding the guys that leave after 5 years and go to another department. Is that a possibility, or do you think that's
No,
a big pushback?
I think it's possible. I think I need to discuss that with everybody that's sitting behind me.
I imagine. And it was just something that just popped into my head, something to think about.
I have no problem discussing it with them. And then present it to Chris with the actuarial and look at the numbers. I know departments are doing it.
Yeah.
Could you get that information before you're scheduled to be back here?
I can try.
Maybe it's not as big as we think, but maybe it is. And we roll that on top of everything else.
look, we want to meet the numbers that you've proposed to us. We want officers that are here for the long haul, that are vested. You know, we hear you, we see this, I mean, it's real, and we want to do something. And if those numbers going from 5 to 10, if that frees up money that allows us to adjust these salaries to where they should be, I mean, that's a commitment by your men and women, and it's a commitment by us as well.
I can look, I'll call Chris Stilts tomorrow.
That'd be great.
Have them maybe go 5, 10, 15, 20, because I know Lake County's 20.
Is Lake County 20?
Yeah.
To be vested?
Yeah, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
That's what I was told from Lake County.
Well, whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact of the matter, we'll find a reasonable number. If there's
Right.
more money we can throw at you guys, that's...
Well, I'm just
we're all in.
curious, to see what the math difference is on the actuarial table.
Yeah, it is kind of a...
Good.
Okay. So, jail. Not much of a...
No
change there.
increase. No increases.
What's your pleasure on this one, guys?
Move to approve.
Couple of motions to approve, couple of seconds, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, Sheriff's Garage.
No changes.
I'll make the
Not
motion.
fair, yeah.
Took a little
Second.
bit, but we got a motion and a second, 211-182.
Yep.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
1217, federal DOC prisoners.
Move. Second.
We're at 53800. Motion and second on the floor. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Accidents, 1101. Moving right along.
Yep.
I'll make the motion.
This way I don't.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor at 5,000.
Yeah.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. County Corrections, 1122. It's gone up a little bit. Why?
Didn't have it here.
On a lot.
Double.
I was being facetious. You got some contractual in there, is that?
It can't be the medical.
Yeah, what is that?
1122, this is a DOC grant. Oh, no, yeah. What do you mean it went up? Nothing went up in the,
Well, that's not what we're looking at.
One
We're
for
looking at
124.
124 to 281.
It's your contractual services cost, you didn't have it.
What?
oh.
That's your grant.
That's my grant, okay. Yeah, I've split it up because it's now a different, we just got an ordinance yesterday, or this morning, this afternoon, approved. I'm moving the money out. It's a DOC grant that we got, that I put in that fund because that's where it was a community corrections. But after doing it, it's just too confusing to keep them separated, so they're helping me get it broke out. So that's a grant. That's not,
Okay.
yeah, that's a grant. It's actually going to be, all put in a different fund.
Okay.
So 9162 is what it's going to go in, so all that was approved and
Okay,
done.
so what's your pleasure at 281,750?
Approved.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Further discussion, we all clear on that?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Firearms, 1156.
So
To approve.
There's a motion and a second. Did you have something to say?
well, I was just going to explain why I'm moving from other supplies to other equipment because of guns. It was always paid out of other supplies. To me, that's not right. I thought it should be other underequipment, so that's all I'm doing.
So that's the extradition fund?
Yeah,
That's
that's,
1155, it's still 5,000. Is the motion okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly higher, but
yeah,
figure
I buy
the more
some.
training you get,
Yeah, we
Help
did
us out,
train.
yeah.
And that's from firearms.
So what you have in front of you is 1155 extradition, which is still 5,000. We've got firearms training 1156, which has gone up a little bit to 85,000. A motion and a second on the floor on those. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Inmate Health Care Fund, 1174. Exactly the same. Anybody have a problem with that? We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Are the commissioners picking up the big jail medical? Yeah.
The on-site, you mean?
Yeah. Is that in the commissioner's budget?
Yeah, that is a commissioner's
Okay.
budget, yeah.
Is that right, Vicki?
I couldn't hear all the way
The
down.
jail medical is being picked up by the commissioners
Yes, it is.
and the contractual?
On-site, yeah.
Yeah, in the,
Right.
This one here for medical inmate, it doesn't generate very
That-
much, it's what
Is
inmates...
that one of the
pay.
seated, or is that?
yes.
Okay. All right. Sex offender fee, nothing's free anymore. $23,175, what's your pleasure?
Move. Second.
Motion is second on the floor. Went up a little bit, huh, but overtime?
Yeah, we're needing more overtime, so we're going to put it in this revenue fund, so...
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Sheriff Pension Fund, 1193.
Motion approved.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Number's the same, 185. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. VIN inspection, 1208.
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second at 5,000. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Continuing ed, 2500-2504.
I'll make the
Move.
motion.
Second.
11,000. Motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Civil fee fund, 2500-2505.
Here again, we're trying to get more overtime in the revenue account.
Right.
We need more overtime, so we're trying to find it in our own funds.
That's fine. You guys understand that?
Yep. Move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Yes.
And a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Overweight vehicle fund.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, 16170, and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Animal control, 4009.
No change.
What we got there? No change, 10,000. What's your pleasure?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
This new facility's not gonna affect, you're not projecting that it'll affect that in any way?
No.
We don't know. I wouldn't.
It'd be the
So what
same as
area
going
of the
next door
county,
instead
so what
of-
area of the counties are you not doing animal control? Portage?
Portage. And that's,
That's not gonna change, doesn't seem.
I don't know. I think they're debating it, but it's, I'm trying to stay out of that.
Good idea.
Might get bit.
And Jeremy and I have had a couple of meetings with the city of Portage. We're trying to move the animal shelter thing along, trying to get them involved in the game, and trying to find some fair and equitable numbers that work for them. But they are pretty steadfast on their animal control, for whatever reason.
This isn't where that money's going from the municipalities.
No,
They get a
So that
cut of
wasn't
that.
your supplemental fund, correct?
They get a cut of this also.
Yes, it's per ordinance, half and half. Half goes into the sheriff's fund, half goes into supplemental animal shelter.
And this is it? This is the fund where half goes in? This is only, 10,000 is the only...
Well, no, this is the only the line items we have. It's a revenue fund, so when we first started this fund, there was only a little in it, so we split it up, and I just have not come back. I just left it the way it was, because I'll come back during the year if we need anything. We're hoping to save up enough money in this to buy a truck, right?
To buy what?
Animal
Vehicle.
control truck someday.
Well, we need a new one?
According to them, we do. Yeah, I think we need one, at least one.
So there was no need for me to ask for any more, because I didn't have anything really to spend yet, so.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Jeremy?
So, I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Vicki,
Do we know? Yes,
so the money that's collected from the cities and towns for animal control,
correct.
all of that goes into this fund?
No,
Where does the other half go?
the animal shelter supplemental fund.
For animal control?
The animal control fees, yes. That last year, the commissioners worked on the contracts with the cities and towns.
Why is animal control, why is half the animal control fees going into something else?
Animal shelter?
Why?
That was per the ordinance that the commissioners adopted.
Mhm.
And what we did was we established a new fund for the sheriff's department, but the ordinance had the other half of the fees go into an existing animal shelter fund. And we have all of that documented. If you want proof that half goes into each, half of what's been collected so far.
Imported's coming in won't have any impact on animal
Pardon?
control, so they're not,
Come in for, in the animal shelter?
right.
Bring the dog, bring the dogs and cats in.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I would think they would pay.
What's going to protect the shelter?
Right, yeah.
So, what's your pleasure with this, guys?
I think we have no.
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, that's right, Jeremy, did you get your questions answered, Jeremy? You seem...
Questions were answered, but it doesn't make any sense, but I guess I'm not a commissioner. So, I mean, if you figure all the animal control fees would go into the animal control budget, not the shelter budget.
I think the
No,
reason
half.
it doesn't, Jeremy, is because the fees that we collect on the animal control that we're assessing the municipalities for, they don't begin to pay for the cost of providing the animal control. So I think what the commissioners have done is they broke out the operations cost of that particular service. They're paying it out of something else, and then this is collected in this way and broken up. It's a good question, probably one better asked of the Board of Commissioners, though. That's my guess, though, is what's happening.
There's more than $10,000 involved.
Oh, yes,
That's a lot
there's
more.
more money in there. It's just, this is just a line item.
That's what Jeremy's,
Yeah,
Okay.
A lot more.
Yeah.
yeah.
We
All in
can
favor,
get-
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
What's that?
I think I have more of the answer for you on that. How the fees came out is we took out what we cost, what we paid for animal control, just like that, our officers, their overtime, their trucks, and then the ordinance says that it's doubled. So it's doubled so that half the fees go towards the animal shelter. So all the fees that we get cover our original cost right now. Does that make sense?
It does.
Drug Task Force, 4010-4110.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Question.
You had a question, Jim?
Yeah, why is this going down? Why is this proposed 17 so much less than what was proposed in 2016?
They pulled the medical
The
out.
17, we pulled the medical
All
out,
right.
because there was never enough money in here, and it's always been paid out of the commissioners, so it's kind of silly to have it go in the negative. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Charitable donations, 4100-4108.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Public Safety Data Tech, 4907. Same.
Mm-hmm.
Move.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Videotape reproduction, 4908.
This is videotapes. We don't really do videotapes anymore, so it's just been stagnant. So I went and used it and turned it into zero, but I need to get it out of the budget because it keeps looking like it's in a negative 3,000 just because the line.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We will be doing digital eventually, so we'll probably have to come back for a new line item for digital, unless you'd rather me leave this and turn it into digital. I don't know if you can do that.
I don't know why you can't.
Sure.
Oh,
I just found that out today,
Auditor?
so.
Hey, you just
Which
name
is
it.
easier, Auditor?
Keeping this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be easier, just keep it, maybe change the title. We'll double check if there's a state number that goes with digital,
Okay.
rather videotape, but I
Well, then
doubt
we
it.
could just leave this in then, and just leave it for digital. Now, it'll look like it's in a negative, but it's in a zero. It's just that the line item is there, so it makes it look like it's in a negative. I cleared it out with some videotaping that we did, training,
Okay.
so we'll just leave that one then.
What's your pleasure?
Move.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Photo Fund, 4910.
Move. Second.
$6,000. Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Booking fees, 4911. Went from 136 to 69.
I think we left that, didn't we? The 139? Probably didn't get changed. Well, this is the booking fee that I used to pay Porter Stark out of, and because of these other grants, I'm able to move them around into these grants.
Okay.
So I wasn't really needing it, so we kind of thought,
Thank you.
you know,
Okay.
I mean, it's a
Very good.
revenue account, so it's not really,
Move. Second.
Your motion is second on the floor. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
SCAAP grant, 8115.
residential substance abuse treatment. It's a ICIJ grant.
Move. Second.
Motion is second on the floor. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Edward Byrne grant, 8118.
Move. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
RSAT grant,
New.
it's new.
Yeah, that's the new one.
Move. Second.
It's a grant. 130,069, motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to take a break. for
Yeah,
a
but
second.
it's not, you guys come here tonight, it means something, so don't think you wasted your time by coming here. You guys being here, it really does mean a lot. We have your back, we're gonna do something, I think. Oh, I'm going to try, but it means something that you guys are here tonight, so don't think you wasted your time.
We're going to do something.
And come back for final reading, because that's, or when we do our salary.
We'll be back.
I'm sure you will.
Thank
Take a
you.
break. Thanks for coming, guys. Dave.
No, the videotape fund.
You know what that would do, the old woman.
Yep. Yep, I just sit around eating bonbons all day anyway. Hey there.
I'll get on, thank you.
For this year, just the sheriff, not the jail, right? Because he has several different budgets. For this year, it was approved at
Except the Supreme Court.
$4,078,833.
Because they don't have money to postpone, which doesn't happen.
Yes, that's what it was approved at. Now, there have been changes over the year, additional appropriations, but that's what their budget was approved at.
They're almost against that. Huh? What does that take effect? Well, it depends on who you ask. It's going to be
Okay,
mandated.
as proposed, it was
Some counties today. There's a question as to whether we are a part of it.
And what
It has
was
to do with-
approved tonight eliminated the
There's an
raises.
EBDM committee, there's a pretrial,
And
there are counties that are participating.
Can we get to what was the sheriff's
The unanswered
department
question
approved
is, we're an
budget?
EBDM
They,
county, and it's
sheriff's general
decision-making,
fund, yeah.
but they're lumping us in with pretrial.
So they approved
Theoretically,
their budget
we may
as
be-
proposed,
I mean, we may
except
be
for
in
the
violation
raises.
today,
So it
but
ended up
minimum,
at $5,180,176.
For everybody across the state. So, okay, that's
Not great. This-
Okay, it's not great. And sheriff, he's part of the committees, and, everybody's looking at each other saying,
Okay.
well, what are we supposed to do with this?
now?
Good Lord, man. Yeah, that's,
Thank you for that.
I am just wondering why videotape fees we have identified for, is that the state number maybe?
Okay, no, we will do that and I'll forward it to you. Okay.
This was 2006. Okay. Okay. Well, okay, when you said that it looks like it's running a negative, that's what got me concerned.
Oh, it's just a line item,
Oh.
I cleared it out to be zero, so it was done because we had a training video made, so I kind of used that as, get rid of it, because it's been there for a couple of times I've been here. And it's been, whenever they did the.
You didn't have to appropriate. Just email me and remind me and I'll give you a copy next month, okay?
Yeah, yes, it's zero, there's no money in there, all the cash is out, but because it's got a $3,000 line item, it always looks like it's in the negative $3,000.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, see, that shouldn't face me.
Oh, okay, you're talking budget, we're looking at the fund, okay.
Right, yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah, it looks like it's in the negative.
Well, as long as you don't spend your budget, then,
Yeah, she is definitely.
and we won't let you know. Hopefully.
Well, I couldn't anyway. Oh, it's not, you have a
Oh, okay, no problem. Do you want me to make a copy of it?
Well, Renee,
Sure.
It looks like you have an appropriation, but she should be checking to make sure that the fund has the money.
well, that's what I do before I send it.
Yes.
I make sure, I keep track of what all those line items
Yeah.
are, and then I look at the
Yeah.
total of what cash is.
So what we need to do is now, if you want a digital fund fee,
Well,
digital fee fund or
People
something.
are starting to ask for digital.
Okay, can we just keep that same fund number, but just rename the fund? That would be the easiest to make, but,
Yeah,
right.
I'll find it.
And maybe there's, now we're finding out that the state has some numbers and some titles, and as we're moving to the new system, we're trying to clean up all of these to make sure that we're in sync with the state. And so we'll have to double check. We kind of learned the hard way. We had this one fund, it was kind of funny. It turns out that it was on the state's list for a property tax fund that we don't even have in our county. We didn't have it in our system, so we thought it was a valid number to use. And so it probably is a valid number. No one would say boo about it, but what if down the road, we want that other fund, which we probably won't ever use.
So you can look at all the funds and they
So,
all might be-
especially now that we're moving to a new system, we want to kind of just clean up some of the numbers.
Yeah, just let me know if
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. There might be some changes. We're still unsure of how, like, Lau treats some of these shared funds, like the donation fund. You have a donation fund, but so does some other departments that share the fund with you. It's all segregated by sub-fund. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I also keep track because people donate for certain things. So I have to keep track and make sure that money's taken in there for K-9 or for inmates. You know, we get a lot of donations for Bible.
Yeah, and she takes one.
So I keep track of that on a separate sheet to make sure that we don't go over,
Yeah.
period, yes,
Right.
no, we go
And
over
like the
there.
commissioners, the new animal shelter fund, the capital, the big one, they wanted a completely separate fund. They didn't want it even to have the appearance of intermingled.
Well,
And
that's why-
and the state makes us intermingle money
in here.
on the state report.
No, it's just gonna be us.
So it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
The other law
It's all kept separate, it's all accounted for separately, but it looks, like
Yeah,
that.
we were floating, and that's when you
Yeah. So hopefully we'll, so instead of reducing the number of funds as it is recommended and as I would like, we're adding funds left and right. Yes. But again, Tony, I think that grant fund, I think on second reading, we should remove it. We did not advertise the new grant, we got the appropriation, but they can.
The other law enforcement agency that you...
But
All right,
it needs
yeah,
to have
okay.
appropriation in the budget. But I think we should take it out of this year's next year's budget, and then come back for the appropriation.
So it's doggone sure.
That is a bet.
You've been using it. Jesus. Is that, just see mine, might make that blue.
All right, let's get back to it here.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, we're waiting on Karen.
Karen, we're never gonna go, this is it, huh?
There is a raise in
Got
here.
post and...
Okay. But the two employees are still in. Okay.
All I know is next year, I'm getting all my people uniforms.
Intimidating, isn't it? Bob wore his, uniform too. Color.
It works. He was wearing it. Do it.
Cheryl,
He's wearing his
you
same
wanted
clothes
to
last
increase that
night.
grant fund? You wanted to increase the grant fund?
Thanks.
Oh,
That's a sidebar.
Yeah, there you go, sidebar. Turn that.
let's see.
Prosecutor, 10:08.
cancel all of them. Reduce everything by 10%.
So you...
Reduce or increase?
Reduce.
Reduce?
Yeah.
Motion.
So we've got some changes here, not horrible, but some. Looks like you're taking hourly, putting some hourly in there. Is that because you had a break in, you had some vacancy there? Is that what we're filling in, or are we doing with that hourly?
Okay, the hourly, we've got a guy now, Ryan Rowan is in Guantanamo.
Right.
Sent me a text the other day, enjoying the weather. He's being paid by Uncle Sam while he's gone.
Right.
So we had to put the hourly money to pay a part-time prosecutor who's
Right,
working
so
for that
that's-
10-month period.
So that's a yes.
He's on the good side of getting lower.
He's on the good side.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's on our side.
Clarify that.
So I did see some changes in the salaries, too.
Correct.
Let's talk about those.
Really?
Why are we upping the salaries?
All right.
Is this the one where a grant ran out, and we don't want to push them into the general fund, or is this something new?
Are we talking about the 2047 increase?
We're talking about,
There are two positions?
1208, moving into this because of contractual service being diminished. DD and...
We're moving salaries out of one fund, out of our discretionary fund into contractual services. We're just moving them out. We're not adding anything to the budget, we're just shifting them from our 1208 or our 2500 into the general fund because we are not spending all of our contractual services anymore.
so it looks
Modified
like,
that.
all right, so it looks like your contractual services, I want to be clear on this, we're going from, on the 1008, we're going on contractual services from 74,000 and change down to zero. What were those contractual services being?
Great Lakes Labs.
And then we are moving some salaries out of the deferral fund?
Yes.
Into this one. Is it that your deferral fund is running out?
Correct.
Or is
Well,
there
it is starting to decrease, and I've had this conversation with some of you already,
You have?
and I want to not be in a panic, because the money that is, we're not
Pull up
going to have...
deferral. Pull up the deferral fund, let's just take a look.
It's at about
at
$1.99.
Yeah, that may help if you can kind of...
The idea is that if we can pull these couple of administrative salaries out of that, then we may even be able to keep our head above water and keep that budget balance in parity.
Okay,
We're decreasing, and I've explained to some of you guys that the state police, who writes the lion's share of the tickets, they've had a change of philosophy with the head of ISP to be more community policing and not just willy-nilly writing 1 billion tickets, which is great if that's what they want to do, but the result is that all prosecutors' offices throughout the state who rely on their guys writing traffic tickets so we can do infraction deferrals, all of us our balance is decreasing.
So it does look like you're not, I mean, when I look at balance by month in the deferral, at the end of January, we were at 227, end of February, 230, end of March, 223, end of April, 234, so it doesn't look like it's really falling like a rock, like a stone here.
It used to be almost 400.
But now but I'm looking at, I get that, but we're looking at what's happening this year, and it's not really, I mean, you still have close to $200,000 in there.
But if you notice, we budget about almost $500,000 out of there. So there are so many items that we have that as sort of our backup for.
Well, I'll leave that to the group, but... Bob Hopperod, do you have anything to say about that? You're usually big on that.
I'm trying to protect the fund, to be honest with you.
Understood.
I'm big on using the funds.
Well, if you give me more money when it runs to zero, that'd be great.
So, yeah, I'm just not thinking we're there. So what do we budget in this fund? What do we budget this fund for? What's our budget, overall budget for 2016?
The budget,
It doesn't look like the balance really went down that much. I mean, unless we budgeted, expended 220. So this says there's a balance of 312, 231. Are you on I'm on the deferral fund budget, that's what you have, right?
yes.
Okay, now I'm really confused.
That's appropriation.
That's the budget right there.
529 was the budget, right?
529,406. All right, so we expended 220, and you're holding a fairly steady balance.
I can tell you that if, a year ago, the balance was substantially higher, 30, 40, 50,000, I think. And that's sort of the mindset that I had in asking for this, because when it goes down fast.
What makes
I
it go
think
down fast?
Excuse me?
What does make it go down fast?
Well, so much comes out of it.
Yeah, but
Like-
but Brian, I'm looking at this, and it's not showing this year that that's really been happening. This year seems to paint a picture that it's holding fairly steady.
I don't know at this stage of the game what is left that's going to be bricked out, it's going to be pulled out of it by the end of the year.
Do you know what's left to be paid out of this fund, Vicki? And, I mean, we do have some money coming in.
Well, if you look at what the balance of the appropriations is, $312,000, they will not be able to spend that. This fund will not support that.
What is that? What's left to be paid out of this? Why do we have expenditures of so much a month, and then all of a sudden, with 3 months left or 4 months left, you're telling me
Yeah.
that we need $300,000?
Okay, well, let's, you're in the budget now? Okay. So salaries, you have a fair amount left in your hourly. Overtime has not been spent.
Let's go line by line.
Let's put the budget up here. Because they have a tax rate twice as ours? Because they're pushing all their residents above the property tax cap?
The Portage? What?
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right.
The budget is 529.
Well, go to 2000 and,
Yeah, 2,000. Wait, I'm sorry?
go ahead. What are you pulling up here for us?
Looks like the main items that they have been spending on out of this fund are the employee-related expenses.
So why is there 300,000 left to spend out of this fund, is my question.
That's $312,000 left in appropriation, based on what was approved from their budget last year of about $529,000. But the fund itself, that was just the budget, but the fund itself has a balance of about 190-some thousand. And of course, there's going to be some incoming revenue, but if we have 190 now, you will not be able to spend on the rest of your budget, 312. I don't think you're bringing in that much revenue through the end of the year.
What's left to be paid? What are we, the
What's the bill?
$312,000, what are we paying out of that? What's left?
Well, if you look at the budget, they have salaries, hourly, overtime, FICA, medical, and
Those
PERF.
stuff
That's
should
what
be fairly
most of,
constant.
Yes.
Their burn rate doesn't show $312,000 in 4 months.
no, they haven't spent, in the other services, there's a lot of balance left in those line items. Consultants, training and ed, institutions.
So are there
Go
any,
through that.
here's my question. You're telling me things that seem like they're consistent expenditures. My question is, you said there's another their appropriated amount, $312,000, they don't have enough money. What's that for that I'm not seeing on their normal expenditures, their monthly expenditures? What big-ticket items are left out there that leads you to believe that the amount that they're spending a month and the amount that's been coming in a month, why isn't $194,000 left enough?
I'm looking at what their approved budget
Okay,
was for.
I get it.
And-
What's left to be paid
Okay,
out of
let's
that
go
budget?
through each line item then. Okay,
Oh.
most of their expenses are constant, they're for
Right.
the employees.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
just go down the list here. They're not spending as much on, okay, they did not spend anything out of their overtime line item.
Mhm.
That's going to be tied with the employees, so that's a given. That's going to be taken, pulled. So $1,800 in office supplies, office fixtures, $140, $35,000 left to spend in undercover expenses.
What's that, Brett?
That was budgeted, why didn't they, you haven't
Go
spent
back,
any.
go back, that's a big number, go back.
Well, we can't.
just want to
There
get
you
a
go.
handle on his sustainability of his budget, that's all. Not even necessarily with regard to this request, I just want to know what the long term is here.
My understanding is the burn rate within 3 to 4 years will be done, and I'm just trying to avoid that.
Can I say what I think they are?
They're not gonna, it doesn't look like they're spending.
Okay, so here's what I would suggest. I think we'll take another look at this. We'll take another look at this and get a little more detail.
You say the burn rate, the burn rate,
I'm looking at what's been coming in a month, going out a
Right.
month, and leaving him his ending balance. I want to know what big ticket items might be still out there that would lead us to believe that he doesn't have enough monies to get, or what was he thinking he might need to spend out of this budget? And a lot of those things he hasn't had to spend, which is good. I just want to know what's out there that we know we're going to have to pay for out of this budget.
And he would be better to
Yeah, we,
don't know.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
go ahead.
Most everything will be expended except 2 items that we have line items for, but we truly don't ever touch them. And that is the one that she just finished mentioning.
The undercover expenses?
Correct. And the other one is the contractual services for $50,000.
All right.
Those probably will not be touched.
All right. So Brian, your thought is, at this pace, you're probably talking another 3 or 4 years, and then you're sunk in this fund. Is that right?
And, as you all know, you had a lot of people in brown shirts here today bitching and moaning about salaries and those types of things, and you guys know this as well as anybody else, but a substantial portion of my 7-year colleged licensed attorneys comes out of that fund. And, I have to be pretty jealous of it, unless you guys want to pick up, all that stuff, and I'd give you all the money tomorrow, but the reality is I'm forced to pay a high percentage of my people's salary, both administrative and professional, out of that account. And, I don't know what, if it goes to zilch, I don't know what I do. And I have a receptionist who is an amazing salesman, and she sells lots of citizens infraction deferrals. And I don't know that I'll have her forever to be someone who's actually out beating the bushes to get people to sign up. So,
What's your pleasure with this budget? We're at his 10:08.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I am going to vote in opposition.
I am too, I'd like to.
I want a little more information, and I'm going to have to delve a little deeper in the well. I understand what you're trying to do, Brian, but I just want to make sure that I have a...
And I understand, and just something, this probably has come up in years gone by, but several years back, when you kind of leaned on all of us to cut our budgets, basically all I did was I put general fund stuff into that account to get me my 11%. So that's hence the burn rate that we didn't necessarily have. And I would imagine that infraction deferral fund over the years, it's got to be $4 or $5 million that I've supplemented my budget, probably, so.
Prosecutor 4D, 1035. It's about the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about the same, it is the same. We have a motion?
Yes, second.
Motion is second on the floor. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Riverboat, 1191. So we're moving that from, why are we zeroing this out? Why are we zeroing this out?
I don't know.
That's what paid for it.
It must be a typo, it's $250,000. That was the one
You
where
did
I-
not mean to zero it out?
Right.
Okay.
That was the one where I came.
So
to the
add it?
Yeah.
Same as
Oh, right.
16.
Because we've been paying it out of that.
Right.
Yep.
I'll make the
It stays the
motion.
same.
250?
For the motion of 250 in a second.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
If I could, and I don't want to drag this out, but one thing that's jumped into my head, just briefly back to the infraction deferral. I'm hopeful that you guys are going to find some money to give some raises to your people. One of the dilemmas also that I face is, because I have grant employees, And when the county employees get a percentage of raise, whatever you are able to give them, in all clear conscience, I got to find some of my own money to make up the other people's salaries. So that was also going into my thought I know you've already approved it, but that was another thing going into my thought process where I would like to, if I can create a little bit of a cushion there, to have some money to be able to do that, so.
Yeah, and that's something we can certainly think about on, maybe revisit that fund to talk about raises. Prosecutor deferral 2500-2501.
Down.
It's down, and we know why. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yep. Opposed? I am going to vote in opposition.
Really?
I am. Now, he's raised an interesting point. Maybe we want to revisit that budget at some point and see if there's money there for raises.
On the 2501 ball, we forgot to add an employee for FICA and PERF.
Oh, so,
It's still going to be down, but it's not going to be down
Yeah,
as much.
but we advertise this amount, we can't go above it.
We advertised higher.
I know, I'm just
Okay.
messing with them.
So, now, do we have any, you're not adding staff, and you're not taking staff off of grants, right? We don't have any grants running out and we're making them into employees, is that correct?
No.
Correct.
It's just paying their FICA and their
We're just
PERF.
moving, okay.
so what is?
I mean, generally speaking, my question is generally, there's nowhere in your budgets where you're taking someone off of a grant, making them, or adding people?
Nope.
So we're just really trying to,
Yes.
cool,
Keep the plate spinning.
gotcha.
So do you have a final number then on what?
474,871.
I assume the motion and second concur with the new number?
Yes.
All in favor of the new number, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I am going to oppose.
We didn't have.
I think
Cheryl,
we
could you repeat that number?
Can I just bring it to you?
Sure.
FICA and the PERF.
For one person, please. Okay.
Prosecutor pretrial, 2500-2503. Let's keep the fires burning here.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I want to ask a question.
We have motion and second discussion.
Okay. Is this, and I'm just going to be, Brian,
This one. Yeah,
I'm just going to make some dumb statements.
okay.
Shocking.
Yeah, well, more dumb statements. Should this go up to keep people out of jail? Should we put more money into this to allow judges, or am I missing the whole boat on what this is?
You're missing.
I've never been involved, so I'm at a distance on
Why
it.
don't you explain to him how the pretrial diversion fee is?
What happens, we have our two major, I think actually, well, we have three. We have three discretionary accounts, one of which is a bad check thing that's basically defunct because nobody writes checks anymore. But the other two that we have, one is the infraction deferral, which is the speeding tickets. That is the 1208.
Right.
That's where that pool of money comes from all the departments that are writing speeding tickets. People opt into this program. We also have pretrial diversion, which now we're talking criminals.
Right.
Low-level criminals, minor consumings, public intox, first-time possession of marijuana, conversion, those types of things. And so each of those funds is funded by, the activities of my staff to get people to participate in those programs. And then we utilize, both of those in various ways. By and large, the lion's share of those discretionary funds are used to supplement deputy salaries and administrative salaries.
I'm just trying to keep them out of jail.
Good thinking. So the number looks like it went from 71,193 to 69,050.
I'll make the motion. We already did.
Did we vote on that?
No.
Let's vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yes.
Check deferral, 20,500 to 5,000. You've already for folks.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is what's our next one here?
Forfeited.
Forfeiture. Forfeited property, 4010.
Move. Second.
A motion to second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Prosecutor 40 PCA. What's that?
I'll make the motion.
What is that one for, Brian?
Which one's this?
That's one of Laura's ones from 4D. Which one are you guys on?
PCA.
8099?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 89. I'm just curious. Not a big number, but I'm curious.
This is 4D funding.
You know, it's okay, I just was curious. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yep.
Domestic violence grant, 8112. Up, but it's a grant, right?
We get more money for grants? I'll make the motion.
The grant got approved yesterday. We got an email. It's a 2-year grant. So for the whole year, when I submitted this, I did not include training ed, and I did not include health insurance. So those 2 items would be on there.
A new number was $148,380. $148,380 is the new number.
Okay. You've heard the number, what's your pleasure?
Excuse me, we cannot do it because we didn't advertise for everything to be included. We advertised 15% higher. We can go up to $139,150, so you'll have to come back for the additional.
$10,000 for
Let's
training and ed?
Do you want,
Let's just do it that way. We'll come back for the training and education, the
okay, so
$10,000.
we add the $17,380 now?
Yeah.
Okay, for life and health, medical insurance.
So what is the new number, Vicki?
Okay, let's add it.
139.
131? Oh, no.
No, 130.
138,380.
Yep, we can do it,
That's our new number.
138,380.
Our number is 138,380, what's your pleasure?
Yep.
Second.
We have a yes and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Stop grant, 8113.
Move. Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
4D incentive, 8893.
Move.
Same.
Nothing has changed from last year.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Prosecutor 4D 8897. Almost the same.
It's the same. I think that's just the FICA.
Yeah. It's your pleasure.
I'll make it.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
State local grant 9114.
Grant go up?
It went up last year. We have not got approved this year, so we might have to come back in January because we don't know what it will be at.
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We're done.
Mr. Whitten, can I ask a question?
You can.
Vicki,
Yes.
when you talk to the state concerning the hospital foundation proceeds,
Yes.
if we dedicate, echoing Mr. Biggs, if we have a dedicated use, will they not count it, or will they count it as miscellaneous revenue?
If it's in its own fund, it
Okay.
would not be a property tax supported, and it's
Okay.
end of discussion. We don't even have
So
to...
I'm gonna pull stuff out of thin air, and I'm just making a statement. If we say, we want $3 million of foundation interest to go to healthcare,
Correct.
that will not count against our levy.
If it's in its own fund.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, we'll have to set up a fund and go through all the
Right.
generations,
Right.
but it will not count against miscellaneous revenue. So in theory, if we want to dedicate X to X, if we just sum up right, it won't count.
Correct.
Will they put that in writing?
Yes, I
Oh,
think they will.
Why
I think they will.
why don't we just wait and see what we find out here? Keep plugging away, and Harold, we'll do that letter, and let's get...
Yeah, no, I just want to, we've talked about this for so
I'm a little
years.
concerned because the conversations I've had with the state, going
I
back
know.
a ways,
I know.
we've gotten very conflicting stories, and I'm a little hesitant. It's almost like
That's why I wanted
they
to
have
ask,
to do, so tell us what you want to do, and we'll tell you it won't work.
that's why I wanted to ask if it's going to be in writing, because I'm afraid if we go down this road, and 2 years from now, somebody from the State Board of Accounts just slashes our budget because we have all this miscellaneous revenue, and I'll say, tough.
No, it would be treated like hospital interest is treated right now, as its own special non-reverting fund.
Okay? I'll touch the state.
One more thing on hospital money before we go.
We leaving?
I thought we're done, yes.
Oh,
We're done.
One more thing before we go. Thursday, we're getting into hospital interest money for all the, right, is that Thursday, the 22nd? Or did I skip forward?
Thursday is the 22nd.
So we're getting into OE, Family Youth Services, Council on Aging,
social services.
Social Services.
Portercon.
You don't want to cut social services.
I thought, listen, we're the ones that, we are the ones that took it over from the state that cut it. You remember when they cut it?
We are the voice for the people that would otherwise not have a voice for themselves.
Jerry, you want to cut a weed? Well, my point is, there may be some things we can look at.
Well, I'm crystal clear on, when we did that, it was followed, or led with, this was only temporary.
This is coming out of what was left over now, that we only have a small pool of money left in, right? The hospital interest money that we kept by not moving into the foundation, that we funded the animal shelter off of.
That's proceeds,
No,
not interest.
we left interest
Well,
back.
yeah, we did leave some interest.
Yes. You still have a hospital interest fund.
Yeah, we still,
How much is in there?
but that wasn't the part to fund the animal shelter.
No, that was
So we left proceeds and we have a little interest left.
Yes.
What do you propose?
4902 or 49?
I'm just, as we get into this Thursday,
Right.
we've only got a little bit of money left in principal and interest outside of the foundation.
And this discussion is going to be, we're going to drill down the well on this come Thursday.
well.
We have about $4 million left in hospital interest.
That's good.
Dan, do you want me to address the panel about that issue that we talked about during the break, just so that everybody knows, the criminal rule?
Yeah, you might as well tell us.
Right.
Get it, so we
As you all, I think, know, and if Sheriff were here, both of us would kind of give you the pitch, but the Sheriff's Department, the Porter County judges assess cash bonds to nearly, there's a bond schedule, nearly every inmate or person that is taken into the Porter County Jail is subject to paying some type of a cash bond. We used to have surety bonds, but we've morphed that into basically cash bonds. Well, the Indiana Supreme Court just this week passed Criminal Rule 26, which basically is forcing all of the counties in the state to get away from the cash bond system. Basically, either they stay or it's an owner cognizance. And that's going to be a lot of money that we all know goes to fund a lot of the things that are done in the jail programs and all. So that's coming. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but that is a lot of revenue.
What's the argument to get away from cash bond?
Because it is unfair to keep people that are indigent and cannot afford to pay a cash bond to keep them in jail. The reality is, it's a specious argument, because we work very hard to get them out.
OR in jail. Judge?
Well, the judge makes that determination, what the bond is, whether it's OR or whether it's $1 million. That's a judge decision.
So are you telling me that it's not my best interest to get into the bail bonds business right now?
No.
This is not a good time to be in the bail bonds business.
But we'll get you out, Jeremy. We'll get you out.
Thank you. All right, guys.
We'll get you out.
Thank